Welcome to everybody. Mo Sangha is here, and to all the people on YouTube for your kind of support in any way you do that, your practice, showing love to the channel, to the group. It means a lot because I constantly witness Dzogchen being misrepresented. Practice itself becomes out of reach. You'll get it in 10 years kind of mentality. So, accessing your natural state now, releasing into it, recognizing awareness as the nature of your mind, learning how to let things be is the secret. Please don't forget that. If it's good enough for modern cognitive behavioral therapy, then it's definitely good enough for us in Dzogchen and meditation. It means we're doing something right. The success rates are incredibly high in CBT, which I find fascinating. It's like, wow, what we're doing in this ancient practice. So, in my opinion, one thing has never changed through thousands of years. However, it's spoken about, however, it's represented metaphorically, allegorically, symbolically, whether it's shown symbolically, orally, or through silence of pure presence, we're talking about resting in awareness, a part of your mind that can be there as you have a state of upheaval or disturbing emotions, uh, stuck in thoughts, anything. There's a part of your mind that will be there in a very kind of free, open, unentangled way. But we end up in this state of consciousness, typically. So let's take sadness, for example. If I was in a state of consciousness, of sadness, well, my body might be like this, a little bit more rigid and tight throughout the body. I may have thoughts, even creating, you can see it. My frontal lobe might be heavier appearing and feeling for sure to yourself. Your heart and your chest area may feel like it's drowning, right? Like there's water there, or maybe heavy, digestive system feeling tight, things like that. It's a whole state of consciousness that involves thoughts, emotions, and the body. So, just like if we had water in a pot, that's the state of the water, whether it's frozen or hot. So, we can be like that almost, frozen or boiling. I'm sure you've been boiling before, but that's another state of consciousness within the pot of your awareness. Just let it be. If you can let it be, even in baby steps, a few moments of your cyclic disturbing emotions, like anxiety, maybe you have dialogues about how you're not good enough, or maybe you have ideas about the world, how it's very bad and corrupt and disturbing, which you can find all these things in the world, of course. But something brings us down. And in that case, we're in a state of consciousness and we can just sit with that and let it be, even just for 10 minutes, and you'll be free. I'm not trying to rhyme, but it's happening. I've decided I'm just going to let it happen from now on. So when it happens accidentally, again, I'm not trying to rhyme. This is not Dharma rap, although it could be to try it out, I suppose. But yes, that's the great secret, you know. Many of us have cycles that have been going for a very long time. And if you can notice the repetitive nature of a cycle, then that's how you can spot, well, this is conditioning. And if it's repetitive, you can greet it like an old friend. So there may be a thought like, wow, what the heck am I doing with my life? Or, oh man, I should have more money. I should be more of a peaceful person, right? But that thought itself makes you less peaceful person. It's kind of paradoxical. So if you can manage to catch that thought in midair, sometimes even in mid kind of sentence, I'm not a good person or I'm not worthy, whatever it may be, you may see it within awareness, within mid sentence, and it goes away because you didn't feed it. So that's like a thief entering an empty house. This thought comes to snatch you up, and as awareness holders, you have a space there to say, nope. These thoughts lead you to anything, right? Drinking, smoking, watching weird stuff, you name it. Holding grudges against people, holding grudges against yourself. And so maybe I came to the meditation today. Maybe something upset me earlier. I saw some suffering. And I'm sitting here and I'm still disturbed by it. And I know we're supposed to just let it be. So I'm just going to sit here and let it be. And I feel this thought like, man, I'm very angry about that. I want to go over there and tell those people what's up, you know? Um, all that, I'm letting that be. I'm letting that feeling of a knot in my body uncoil itself like a snake, untying itself within my awareness. The second mode of liberation, right? Also a way of letting it be. So if I'm sitting here, thought comes, maybe I didn't let it get to me. And it says, oh, those people, you should be mad at them or something. You know, those people are at it again, stealing stuff or something like that. I just let that thought come and go. So I let the thought, like a thief entering an empty house, it comes and goes. Obviously, a thief would not stay at an empty house, right? So let's say I did let the thought get to me. Now I feel pissed off. That's like a snake uncoiling itself within awareness. So another way of letting it be, but a little bit deeper, right? A little bit more to it. And then sometimes that thought, you can't even help it. You know, as soon as you think of that thought, you're going to get upset. So you greet it like an old friend. You know it's going to hit you. For example, we may think of our parents or something. We may get nostalgic. Oh, a thought comes to our mind. You know when you grab that thought that it's going to send you into a kind of sadness or something like that. And sometimes that's fine. I love feeling kind of blue about nostalgia, you know, about things in the past or something like that. To me, it's just a connection, still connecting, not really the past even, you know, just still alive here in my mind. So there's a, you know, we start to really become friends with ourselves in all this. That's one of the overall points, key point. But many of our thoughts that drag us down or drag us around or keep us feeling incomplete are like old friends. We've had them many times. We can recognize them. So this is also within awareness and letting it be. Because you're letting that thought come on in. This time I have a TV and a DVD player to steal for you, thief. So the thief sits down and starts stealing your stuff. And you let it. You know it's going to happen. He does it. Now you got a snake to untie. Okay. So those are the three modes of liberation. Very useful there. Um, Now let's talk about Garab Dorje's three statements. Have confidence in one thing and one thing only, the self-liberation of thoughts. Well, that's letting it be. The thief enters an empty house, self-liberation of thoughts. And guess what happens if you never let thoughts send you into a snake, into a production cycle? Well, you're completely here in wakeful presence all the time. Sounds like a Buddha, doesn't it? You never get dragged into conditioning. And at first, it may seem unappealing to our samsaric mind that needs things to be heavy and shiny. That freshness, that kind of just, wow, I'm just here. I'm not really doing anything. And I'm happy and fresh and nice. I need to do something to pollute this again. You know, we do that. So that's as simple as it gets, in my opinion, Garb's Lord J's three statements. Uh, he talks about Tawa, the view, and to me, that is resting in the view. Mhm. It doesn't need to get any more complicated. And then let's talk about statements like Talopa to excuse me, the six nails of Talopa, right? Talopa, those six nails. I think they're more used in the Mahamudra tradition, but I think they could be useful here. No need to bring the past in. If you're thinking of the past, release it. If you're thinking of the future, release it. And this is my personal kind of paraphrasing of it because they say don't think of the past, don't think of the future. But if you're thinking of the future or the past, leave it. You've let an old friend into your house, you've given them something to steal, and they're here now. Let that be, and it will liberate. Uh, yeah, and that's what it means by releasing, just leaving it within your awareness and then allowing it to pass and liberate. So he also mentions don't examine what's going on right now, right? And don't imagine, like fantasize. Says, and I would say, if you're imagining, fantasizing, it must be cyclic usually, and it's a habit of that. So leave that within awareness, which is the last of those six nails. Uh, Relax and let it be. Says. And so then the four chokshaks, right? We get that from Manjushri Mitra, right? Sri Singha, the millimeter, maybe actually. No, just leaving it be again. Just so notice how every single one of these Dzogchen Mahamudra instructions are about just leaving it be. The same as in cognitive behavioral therapy. So the four chokshaks, your view, which is awareness. Let it be like a mountain. Your experiences are going to be like an ocean within space, ebbing and flowing. But they have a suchness there. So let that be like an ocean. Your actions, your conduct are going to be within awareness, uncontrived. Hopefully, the baby pilot that thinks they need to navigate this whole thing is starting to step back. And so now you can leave your action, your conduct, leave it be. The third choksha. The fourth one is any fruition. This is very important. I feel like many practitioners can get hung up here because things start to get magical and a little trippy. And so we kind of pull in the reins when we say, whoa, 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 what the heck was that? Time to write a book. I want to write a book about that. Or even awareness practice. Oh, I recognize awareness. That deserves 3 volumes of books. So amazing. And it is. I don't blame anybody. And the first time you see bindus and vajra chains and things like that, yeah, you're probably impressed. But my thing is, if you let it be, like the Four Chos say, that you can continue past that threshold. That's the important part, right? Don't just look at the daylight and go back into the cave and write a book. And many have declared themselves teachers prematurely, not knowing that there's more. So I hope you're seeing the basic premise to this presentation is that all these authentic instructions that we see everywhere is about leaving our experience alone. And that's what's difficult when you're so used to doing. You're so used to being active and applying remedies and antidotes and assuming that there's something that needs fixing, or assuming there's something that's unenlightened. And these patterns go very deep. We get very philosophical and analytical with a deep framework of justification for our beliefs that keep us solidified in duality and into a cartoon that we swear is real, which is fine. I'm not hating. But those of you who are making authentic connections with the path of awakening, yeah, past that threshold into ineffability, even the four samayas are all about letting it be, which the way of abiding by Longchenpa has to be my favorite text, my favorite Dzogchen text, and probably the manual for our group. And I can't believe how misunderstood it is by academics and practitioners alike. Perhaps they never took the time to read it. It's a big book. Maybe they're just getting the cliff notes. But that book goes into depth about ineffability, which people translate that in all kinds of weird ways, like non-existence. And yes, the book talks about non-existence, but it also clearly defines ineffability. The, just let one rip. Anyway, uh, there's nothing like a dog fart when you're meditating. Talk about let it be. If you can let that be, then you are getting leveled up there, Buddha level. So anyway, various other kind of exotic translations. I'm not going to name the translators. I'm trying to, you know, be respectful here. I don't really want to disrespect anybody or be unkind. But these translations are ridiculous. So if you really read it, it's talking about ineffability is beyond description. The nature of your mind is beyond words that can be defined. Uh, there are no phrases, no words, no concepts. Basically, over and over again saying that. So clearly defining it as ineffability. Then the second one, openness, is also clearly defined, talking over and over again about spaciousness. Uh, so that's indisputable, in my opinion. Richard Barron, Choki Nyingma, did a great job translating that text. And those people who are providing these conceptual, nuanced translations of the four samayas aren't helping anybody actually by overcomplicating things and enumerating lists of imaginary, conceptual kind of aspects. It's unnecessary. So anyway, the third one, pure presence, is also very self-evident. Usually, that one all the translators agree on that one for some reason. They don't agree on the first two. Then the third one being oneness or kind of wholeness, and this is ties together the whole way of abiding treasury with the space of phenomenon treasury. You see, um, when we're sitting here abiding, we have to include the elements. This is a great misunderstanding out there. Why would we continue to enhance that dividing line between our mind and the elements? Uh, so I really encourage you, feel the air as you breathe it, connect with the air all around you. You know, whether it's through resting and awareness, which is the primary way, just let your environment be and notice that dividing that we're doing. And definitely stay away from language and teachings that enhances your divide. But you know, your air, your water, your earth, and your body. You know, feel the earth, feel the water, feel the fire, uh, feel the space. Forgetting anybody there? I think I got them all. So this is very useful, you know, and feeling the earth, for example, in our body, it's permeated by mind. We can do that because mind is there, and so it's just like that with our environment. Everything in our environment is permeated by mind. Right? That's quite wonderful. So let's see. I want to get to the comments here too. Ozal saying people who practice the lower yanas are still looking. When we get to Dzogchen, we have had the good fortune to finally find. Indeed, true, but also people in lower yanas are oftentimes misled, even down to the academics. I mean, perhaps the academics bear more responsibility to actually practice, put the teachings into practice before they decide to write about them and publish about them. It's kind of disrespectful, isn't it? It's like me just going to some tribe in the rainforest and say, "I'm going to write about your cultural practices. I hope you don't mind." You know, just by looking from the outside. Maybe I stay there a week and then I write a book about them. I know nothing. You got to get in there and dance around a fire. The Talopa's six nails, yeah. Don't recall, don't imagine, let go of. So it says, don't recall, let go of what has passed. Don't imagine. And remember, I added an extra layer to this. If you are sitting there on the past, just leave it in awareness and it'll self liberate. You don't need to apply a strict don't there, and you don't need to apply any effort of letting go. It self liberates. So I'd say when you're recalling, uh, allow it to self liberate within awareness. When you're imagining what may come, allow it to liberate within awareness. When you're thinking, uh, allow what you're thinking about now to self liberate within awareness. When you're examining, when you're trying to figure things out, allow that to liberate into awareness. When you're trying to control the meditation, yeah, that's a great one. Um, let that sense of controlling your spirituality, your meditation, your Dzogchen, whatever it may be, allow that to release. Definitely, that's a big one, right? And then rest, relax, right now, and rest. Translator Ken McLeod, thank you so much, translator Talopa. It was a wonderful, right? So in earlier, Judson says an earlier translation, circa 1957. Wow, Alan Watts, Mr. Alan Watts, and Dr. Alex Wayman rendered Talopa's six precepts as no thought, no reflection, no analysis, no cultivation, no intention, let it settle itself. Oh, very pithy indeed. Yeah, so I hope you're starting to catch on to what the essential key point is to all of these. And although the path has been overcomplicated, there are no beliefs, there are no philosophical tenets to adopt. Um, there's no problem to solve, to figure out. This is all about learning to let it be without altering that deliberately. Okay. So is that it? Let's see. Yeah, and we have a Dzogchen kind of overview too for the group, and I include the Chokshaks and the three modes of liberation in there, and Garb Dorje's three statements. Mhm. And this can relate to the Satipatthana Sutta and many emptiness practices, staring at walls and things like that. It can relate, yeah.